Well, hey everyone, this is Chris DiFurio with Keys to the Shop. Welcome to another edition of Shift Break. This episode of Shift Break is brought to you by the ground control Cyclops brewer from Voga Coffee that is revolutionizing the way that we understand batch brew coffee and what you can expect from equipment in your shop. So first of all, the ground control uses SCA award-winning technology to give you precise control over an incredible range of flavors in your coffee that you didn't think possible before. And not only does the ground control make amazing batch brew coffee, but it also can be used to make batched iced lattes and batched cold brew and tea. So it's not only a game changer in terms of quality, it's a game changer in terms of versatility and efficiency in your bar. So if you're looking for quality, consistency, ease of use, and beauty all in the same piece of equipment, then I suggest you look into getting a ground control Cyclops brewer for your cafe. To find out more information and get one in your store, go check them out over at their website, groundcontrol.coffee. Again, the website for the ground control Cyclops brewer, groundcontrol.coffee. Today's episode is also brought to you by the amazing La Marzocco. They've been making espresso machines by hand in Florence, Italy since 1927. And those of us who have been in coffee for a while have basically grown up with La Marzocco espresso machines. They're the quintessential espresso machines for the coffee industry. Part of what makes La Marzocco so great is their connection with the industry. They invented the competition Crush the Rush, which focused on testing the speed, efficiency, and consistency of baristas on the bar. They featured their KB90 espresso machine, and that's the machine with the straight-in locking portafilters for ergonomics and speed, auto flush in the group heads for increased cleanliness, and the built-in scales that improve consistency and flow. So from the classic Linea to the KB90, everything that La Marzocco makes is done to set us up for success in our shops, making wonderful espresso drinks for our customers. La Marzocco USA is available to help coffee entrepreneurs like you get the best equipment for your shop. So contact one of their sales directors by emailing info@lamarzocousa.com. You can also find out more information over at lamarzocousa.com. Okay, everybody. Well, today I wanted to talk about something that I think is really critical for those of us who are in a position to hire staff. This is inspired by a conversation that I had with one of my consulting clients who is getting ready to do hiring in their shop or is in the process of doing it. And the topic of hiring friends came up. And I want to tell you what I told them and go into a little bit more depth about this issue because it can become an issue. This is why I titled today's episode, Hiring Friends and Making Enemies. There's a big problem in coffee bars where people are given positions of authority or positions at all based on nothing more than their relationship to the person that is doing the hiring. And that is called nepotism. That means they're either your family or your friend. So you could substitute family in this case. But it's not absolutely a given that because you like a person and you have known them your whole life, or they are your brother, your mother, your father, your son, daughter, whatever, that you can hire them and trust them to work in this coffee bar. That might be difficult to navigate, but I think it's really critical for us to wrap our heads around that, because if we don't, then we run the risk of creating animosity and tension where there doesn't need to be any. Now, let me just talk about how that happens. When you hire somebody who is a friend, and let's say that they are a good worker, and by all objective standards, whether you knew them or not, it was a good hire. One of the things that could easily happen, and this is actually something that I told my client, is that your relationship with them will allow you to be more casual and act differently with that person than you do with a barista that you hire that you don't know. Who, by nature of the fact that you don't know them, you might be a little bit more professional with that person. You might be a little bit more strict. There's more of a professional distance. But then when it comes to the friend, you find it's easier to joke around with them because that's what you're used to. It's easier to be direct with them also, especially if they're a family member. And you could go one of two ways. You could be really casual with this person, and everyone around you can see that you're being more casual and you're closer to them and feel like it's you playing favorites. Or you could be a little bit more strict with that person that you know and give yourself more freedom to be harsher to that person than you would to a normal staff member, because there's a built-up trust. And weirdly enough, in relationships, when there is trust built up, not only do we enter into good times a lot easier with those people, we also can enter into arguments a little bit easier with those people also. This all creates a kind of toxic culture in the coffee bar if you're not setting up preventative measures. People don't want to see you play favorites, and they don't feel comfortable seeing you be overly harsh with somebody who is either your relative or your friend, because it makes them feel bad, and it puts them in an awkward situation. So you're inspiring either awkwardness or jealousy or some weird combination of all of that stuff when you hire your friends and relatives without examination. So what I would suggest to you, if you're in this situation and you're opening a coffee bar and you know hiring is one of the hard things to do, right? And it would be easy to just rely on friends to come to your rescue, but are they the right fit? Try to figure out whether or not this person is a right fit if you weren't their friend. Extract yourself from the relationship. Just pretend like you're not their friend and try to take an objective look at this person. If you lack objectivity and you can't do that, it would be good if you can to get other people to give you feedback on this person and help kind of balance out your perspective of them. I'm not saying you should never hire friends or you should never hire your relatives or anything like that. What I am saying, though, is that you need to accept is that there is a potential for a different kind of treatment that you give this person versus others solely based on their relationship to you. And people can see that very clearly. And so the preventative measure you can take is to first accept that. Second, try to take an objective look at the individual and your own self to determine under pressure, will this be a problem? The other thing you need to do is have a conversation with them. If you're going to hire them, you need to let them know, hey, in this environment, I am the boss, I am the manager, and we are friends, but it's not personal. I have to make sure that I'm treating everyone fairly, and we have to determine before this happens whether or not this is going to be a problem so that we don't click up, in the coffee bar and make other people feel like outsiders of our relationship, like they're playing like a third wheel to this personal relationship that you've brought into a professional setting. So another way that this plays out is when you're the owner and you want to promote one of your kids to a position of authority. When you say that, well, my son or my daughter is back from college, I'm going to give them the lead barista position because they share my last name. And it's a family business, and I can do that because it's my business. You can't tell me what to do, and blah, blah, blah. Yes, well, I can't tell you what to do. I guess I can on a podcast, but you don't have to listen to me. But the point is that, yes, you can do whatever you want. That doesn't mean that it's going to yield something positive. When you have the attitude that it's your right as the owner to put whoever you want in a position and you should be able to give whatever you want to your kids because it's a family business, a lot of times what I see happening is people sacrifice their business on the altar of this misplaced notion that their kin needs to be part of the business just because they share the same DNA or whatever relationship they have to them. That is a problem. And I know many of you, probably if you're in a barista position especially, have seen this. You can't say anything about it because you're not the boss. But you know that this person shouldn't be over me. They shouldn't be a boss. But they are because they are the boss's kid or the relations or the significant other or whatever it is. So I'm pleading with you, if you're in a position where you're about to enter into something like this, where you're going to promote somebody, or you're considering promoting somebody, or you're going to hire someone that is really close to you, be they family or friend, really count the cost. Look into setting up some preventative measures, have a conversation with them, make an objective decision based on who they are or who you think they're going to be in the workplace. Get some outside opinion on them too, not just based on your own bias opinion. You have to accept your bias in this case in order for the business to properly run and to care for the people that are currently in your business. And when you do that, you're either going to decide not to do it or you're going to enter in with both eyes open, fully aware, and more prepared to handle it in a mature way that's balanced and not let something like hiring friends needlessly create enemies in the coffee bar. So I hope that this episode was helpful for you today. I really appreciate you joining me, and I will see you here next week on another edition of Shift Break, From Keys to the Shop.